Chapter 12. The Miraculous Spring. Say I. Did you notice whether anyone was watching us climb this mountain and settle down here? Say the disciples. Lord, we saw nobody these full 2 hours along the way, but would not on that account want to assert that no one saw us. Say I. The woman nevertheless saw us and noticed that we have camped here, and this suffices for thousands to come to this hill tomorrow. Say the disciples. Lord, we are not that tired yet. Hence let us leave this mountain just after midnight, and go some place where this tiresome folk shall not find us, whereafter we can rest for several days. Say I. We shall nevertheless remain here. For it is the Father's will that I heal all sorts of people of their physical illnesses here. Wherefore I shall tarry 3 days upon this mountain. In the morning you may go out and bring an adequate amount of bread from somewhere. Says Judas Iscariot. There we shall have far to walk, for this obviously is a desert, and we shall find no place with bakers within 3 or 4 hours. Says Peter. I shall take care of that, because upon the shore of this sea no place is unfamiliar to me, and I know where to go to obtain bread. 2 hours there and 2 hours back at the most. Say I. Very well, Simon Peter, you take care of it. Whoever you choose shall be your companion. Says Peter, Lord, there are some 20 of us. If 10 of us go, then we should be able to bring bread and fried fish in overabundance. Say I, that should do, but now let us take our rest. Whereafter each looked for a place that promised him comfort, and soon it was quiet upon the mount. All the disciples soon fell asleep, and only I remained awake, only falling asleep a little toward morning. On wakening at sunrise, Peter was already there with a large amount of bread, for he had already left 3 hours before daybreak, and found a ship laden with bread that hiked from Magdala, heading for Gennesaret. Peter, however, lightened its load by nearly a quarter, whilst Matthew, the young tax collector, paid for the lot. The ship carried good roast fish as well, and Peter took a caseful as well, also paid by Matthew. With all this, the height was now provided. Only one thing was lacking, a good spring. But on this extensive mountain, not even a drop of water was available, whilst the small reserve of wine lasted only for half a day. So Peter and John stepped over to me, saying, Lord, you are more than Moses. If you were to say to this nice white rock to yield water, then the purest water should spring forth at once. Say I. If you both have sufficient faith, then lay your hands upon the stone, and command it to yield water in my name. And from the place you touched, fountains of the best, purest, and most flavoursome water shall stream forth. On hearing this, the two selected the most suitable spot upon the stone, and laid their hands upon it. Yet the stone refused to yield water. After holding their hands upon the stone for nearly an hour, the same started to move, pushing itself some 10 paces from its previous position. A meteorite, blocking off the only spring upon this mountain so effectively that not even one drop could escape. But through the shifting of the stone, the best and most abundant spring immediately saw the light of day, together with a 5 feet deep basin dug out by the crash of the meteorite. And so this mountain was now lastingly provided with the best water, being so to this hour. But neither Peter nor John understood how the stone could come to free movement through laying on of hands. Whereafter, all the other disciples placed their hands upon the stone to see if it would move further. But these accomplished nothing with the stone. But when Peter and John laid their hands on the stone again, it immediately continued its movement. Whereupon the other disciples asked me, "Lord, why are we not able to accomplish this?" Say I, "Because your faith still is somewhat maggoty, lacking proper firmness. But I say unto you, if you were of sound faith, not doubting what you want to effect, then verily you could lay hands upon a mountain and command it. Then, like this heavy stone, it would leave its location and move to another. But for this your faith still is far too feeble. Verily, I tell you more. If you had a rock-like faith, then you could say to yonder mountain that we climbed at Gennesareth, 'Arise and cast thyself into the sea,' and the mountain would rise and fall into the sea according to your word and will. Nevertheless, that which you are not able to do now, you shall be able to do one day. But now let us enjoy our morning meal, for it shall not be long before we shall be all crushed by multitudes of people. But place the residue of bread and fish upon yonder stone which moved on your account." After which we partook of our morning meal, and after consuming it together with some fish, the disciples laid the residue upon the big white stone, and we took in the beautiful scenery spreading out widely in all directions before us. On a clear day one was quite easily able from here to make out the coast of the great Mediterranean Sea, and the towers of Sidon and Tyre, and great many other places. In short, the view from this mountain was supremely charming, competing favourably with much higher mountains that often needed an entire day to climb. The altitude, according to today's measuring, was a trifle over 4,000 feet above sea level. The plateau was extensive, that one could have built a large city upon it. Only the access from all sides was very steep, and one had to spare quite some effort in some places to master it. In several places this mountain was not even accessible, but was quite easily so from the side we scaled it. And from this side, after about 1 hour of taking in the view, we heard a mass of human voices, and many cries of pain, both young and old, and male and female.